The explosion didn't come with warning, not really. Just a flicker on the news, a siren too late, and then the light. Not bright like the sun, but thick, hot, pulsing, like the sky itself had screamed. I wasn't there when it happened. I was at the edge of the city, trading old antibiotics for clean socks. And by the time the first shockwave hit, I knew my wife and daughter were already gone. I didn't need to see it. I just felt it in my ribs, that hollowness, like something had been torn out of. When I got back, there was nothing left of our apartment, just scorched outlines and shattered bricks. The toys were melted into the floor like they'd been afraid to leave. Her shoes were gone, the ones with the little stars on the sides, and all I could do was scream her name into the wind, again and again, until my throat bled. No one answered. Not the sky, not the ash, not the dead. I stayed there for 3 days, lying in the rubble, trying to convince myself I'd wake up from whatever this was. But the world doesn't care if you're broken. It just keeps decaying. The food rots, the water dries, and the air fills with the kind of silence that makes your ears ring. I walked away from that place with blistered feet and hands that couldn't stop shaking. I didn't have a plan, just the rumor. They all talked about it in whispers before the batteries died. A city in the north, safe, clean, protected, built underground, they said, with doctors, order, guards, food. I didn't care if it was true. I just needed something to walk toward. The roads are gone, replaced by skeletal highways and melted signs pointing to nowhere. The cities I pass through are husks, buildings split open like rotting fruit. And inside, people tear each other apart for medicine, for bread, for scraps of whatever the fire didn't finish. There's no law anymore, only anarchy. And those strong enough to kill without guilt are the only ones who survive. I've seen men hang others for a can of peaches. I've seen a mother sell her son's jacket for half a cigarette. There's no kindness left here. Only hunger and fear and the cold echo of what we used to be. Sometimes I walk through entire towns where no one's left alive. Sometimes I see them through broken windows, curled up in corners, their skin yellow with disease. There's something in the air, something that sticks in your lungs like rot. The sickness doesn't kill fast. It just breaks you over weeks. I try not to drink from open sources anymore. Try to boil what I can, but there are days when I just can't care. When I drink and wait to feel dizzy, wondering if it'll be the last time I've been robbed twice. The first time I gave them everything. The second time I didn't. The man bled out with my knife in his neck, gasping like he was trying to remember how breathing worked. I didn't say anything, just took back what was mine and moved on. There's no room for mercy out here. Not when the nights are full of violence and the days are full of ghosts. I'm not proud of what I've become, but I'm not ashamed either. I'm just tired. There are days I don't speak at all, not even in my head. Just footsteps and breath and the crunch of gravel. My voice sounds strange when I use it, like it belongs to someone else. I think I've forgotten how to laugh. Or maybe it just doesn't feel like a useful skill anymore. No one's left to hear it. And if there is, they're better off far from me.
I sleep in ruins and cellars and hollowed-out buses. I keep my back to walls and one eye open. I've learned that fire attracts both warmth and death. You light one, you'd better be ready to put it out with blood. I've lost count of the times I woke to footsteps. Sometimes they pass, sometimes they don't. Once I woke up to a man standing over me, knife shaking in his grip. He looked hungrier than angry. I didn't let him finish his thought. Every so often, I see marks on the trees. Painted arrows, scratched symbols. I don't know if they're warnings or directions, maybe both. Once, I followed a trail for hours, only to find a pit full of bones and rotting clothes. I left fast and didn't look back. The air there felt like it was remembering something horrible. I carry very little. Just a water canteen, a rusted lighter, half a blanket, and a picture of them. The three of us at the beach, taken years ago when the world still made sense. My daughter's grinning with her mouth open, like she's shouting something. My wife has her arm around me. I used to stare at that photo every night. But lately I've been keeping it wrapped, not because I've forgotten, but because remembering hurts more than forgetting ever could.
There's no meaning to anything anymore. No future, no purpose. Every day is just another test. Do I want to wake up again? And so far the answer's always been not really, but I will. I don't walk because I hope. I walk because stopping feels like surrender. And I've come too far for that. The violence never really ends. I once saw a convoy drive through a village and burn every house they passed. No reason, no warning, just flame and laughter. They weren't raiders or military, just people like me. Or maybe worse. I've learned not to approach groups, not to speak first, not to ask questions. The less I know, the longer I live. Hunger is constant, a gnawing thing that lives in my ribs. I eat what I find, moldy crackers, canned beans, sometimes insects. Once I found a dead bird that hadn't yet rotted and cooked it over scrap wood. I got sick for 3 days but didn't die. I count that as a win. The worst part is the smell of things I can't eat. Things that used to be food but now crawl with maggots. The world is full of what used to be. People say there's still light up north, a city with order, power, even rules. I don't know if I believe it. I've never seen proof. Only drawings on walls, stories passed between dying mouths. But it's all I've got, that and my own 2 feet. So I keep heading that way, cold wind in my face, rot in my lungs, and hope trailing behind me like a shadow. I try not to notice I stopped crying a long time ago. The last time was when I found a teddy bear half buried in snow. Same one my daughter had. Same patch over the eye. I held it for a long time before burying it again. Not because I thought it was sacred, but because I didn't want the next broken thing to see it and feel what I did. Sometimes I think I died too that day. And what's left is just a shell on autopilot. Eating, walking, hiding. Not really living, just not quite dead. But I keep walking north,